You're watching F5. We are here at AppWorld 2025 in Las Vegas at the Fountain Blue. I am joined by Dominic from CDW. Dominic, can I get you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Dominic. I'm a security pre-sales chief of staff here at CDW.
Fantastic. Chief is in your title, so that's awesome. I love being able to talk to folks like that. We were just kind of riffing on, I was actually learning about how you approach your practice, and it was interesting to me, and I wish we could see more of, or talk more about how you guys approach engagements, is really taking frameworks and being able to assess where people's security programs are at with that, and then be able to really justify and guide, what kind of solutions people need.
Sure.
Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So generally the people who kind of have conversations a lot with our customer are known as our security solution executives. And those individuals can certainly want to align with the priorities of an organization, but sometimes there's a misalignment of what's going to actually provide the highest level of value to an organization. So sometimes somebody has an initiative, but it might not necessarily be rooted in the thing that's going to actually benefit the customer the most. So sometimes we want to take a step back and actually take a better holistic look at the customers, what they're trying to achieve. And so we will do things like work with our security risk and compliance and program consulting practice, and they're doing things like making a gap analysis against a particular framework, so like CIS or NIST, for example. And what we're going to do is we can build out a prioritization list for our customers. So that's a lot of times where we want to start. We can try to back it up and take that, and certainly we can help fulfill a customer if they have a very specific project. They're just like, hey, I need help, I need services implementation for this particular thing. We can do that, but for us, I find it more advantageous to take a step back, take a holistic look, and then see how we can help give them a better outcome at the end of the day.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's always kind of the challenge of security justifying what they're doing, because you don't necessarily see the results of it unless something bad happens, I guess. But I think maybe that approach kind of helps people lay things out for the business to be able to justify spend when it comes to cybersecurity, and say it's not just like a nice little insurance document, but it's actually you guys have taken an approach of, okay, we're addressing these things based on following a framework.
Yep, that's very true. Yeah, so I think in general ROI can be tricky to justify for organizations, and I think there's different ways that people do it. So if you get into like risk analysis as a whole, like there's qualitative and quantitative analysis that you can kind of go, and a lot of people will use Excel spreadsheets and try to have like, hey, what is the mathematical formula to actually figure out if this is actually beneficial or not, right? Like asset X costs $10 and for the protection costs $500. That doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah.
But so we actually do assessments of that kind of nature, right? So we actually have a thing called a SPARK assessment, security program and risk quantification. And so we actually can do a gap analysis against a particular framework, like I said before, and actually use a tool on the back end to input all that data into it and actually provide actual real world ROI for customers. And we can actually leverage things like cyber insurance policies as well in that to feed that data to determine if this will actually help you reduce cyber insurance premiums. So there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do in that
That's
as
a
well.
cool approach. Yeah, awesome. All right, one question everybody's got on their mind right now. How does AI affect what you guys are doing in this approach?
Yeah, so we actually have a whole division and team under AI, and they have different initiatives as it relates to security. And so it's kind of like, customers are very curious at this stage about AI, so it's like, is it AI as a feature? Is it AI as a product, or is it like AI as a factory? And so like there's different, where it's going to land inside of our organization sometimes depends on what they're looking for.
Right.
Because sometimes customers are just looking for enhancement to particular products, and sometimes that's just about product education for us. It's like some of the things that F5 is doing with inside of their tools, inside of NGINX and whatnot.
Sure.
So it's like, I want an AI assistant. Can you help me make sure there's an AI assistant? It's like, sure, we can help you with that. And then sometimes it's like, hey, I want to actually build something like a RAG database for this current product that we have today. So it's like, I want an actual repository where I can hunt down how to actually set policy for this particular product I'm using. And so we can help build those kind of things for our customers as well. So it's really just depending on what the customer is asking for, but there's so many different use cases of AI now that it gets really cool. One of the things that I'm excited to be here for is there's so many cool things that are happening, but CDW and F5 are actually doing exclusive Secure Essentials API Security Secure Essentials bundle. And so it's one of these really cool things that we're pretty excited about as we think about how customers are going to protect their applications. I think a lot of people, if they're unfamiliar with what an API actually does, I think about kind of like two puzzle pieces that kind of have to snap together to kind of make an application actually properly work. So maybe it's like payment processing, or it's actually like leaving a review on a site. Those things all come together discreetly and kind of actually help an actual enterprise application work. So for us, I think the thing that we're trying to help our customers achieve is we're trying to make sure that they can use this API Security Essentials bundle to help protect those APIs from potentially malicious actors, help do things like rate limiting, and overall provide like a comprehensive protection platform, or a comprehensive layer of protection for websites, web applications, and APIs.
Oh, fantastic.
And so, yeah.
Very cool. What I like about that approach, and just everything that you've said so far, is you guys take a systematic approach. It's like, do this so that we can get to this result, but kind of stepping through it so that people aren't just throwing everything at a problem, but actually kind of approaching it from a smart way to do it. Let's not go too crazy here, but here's how you would step towards that and actually be successful long term, as opposed to just, we've all come across solutions that it seemed great at the time, and then 6 months later, you don't really use it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I think that is tricky. So like adoption is obviously extremely important to us, and that's actually something we thought about with this whole implementation. And the Security Essentials bundle, actually we have a CDW dash portal where you can actually go and see it live and test it out. And so you can get better insight into the websites, web applications, and your API endpoints. You can like track and monitor it and see it in real time. And it's all delivered via SaaS. So it's really cool to be able to have that capability, so you can help with adoption rates, because that's super important.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
Great.
Thank you very much for saying that. Thank you very much for sharing that with me. I think we'll actually have some of that Dash stuff shared tomorrow, so we'll make sure everybody tunes in. Otherwise, thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Bye, folks.